Okay.
This is the soundcheck of the show. This is the part where we make sure the speakers will not blow. 'Cause we wrote a couple songs and we like to sing along to this show we made about 2 hours long. This is the soundcheck of the show. Of the show. Of the show.
Alrighty, well, back to Lessons in Lore, the Story of Warcraft panel. If any of you guys remember last year or the year before, you know we do things in kind of interesting ways. We don't simply tell you the story, we do our best to make it interesting. Now, if any of you were here 2 years ago, you'll know that I started with the Star Wars intro. It was fun and interesting, but apparently has very strict copyright. So last year we went with Star Trek kind of thing. This, too, was met with fierce copyright protections. But luckily, I found a franchise we're pretty sure no one is interested in the copyright on.
Wait. You know, we could just do our own thing instead of trying to rip off of others.
Do our own intro, jokes, and everything? Outrageous.
Look, I'm saying let's do original music and our own intros, sell it on the iTunes store, and become millionaires.
Millionaires? Well, that's brilliant. Let's do it.
Hi, I'm Megan.
I'm Chad.
We're really very glad
That all of you could join us here today.
we've got a little show
About the game you know.
and retelling all its history.
History, you know that
Yep,
doesn't.
we've been working hard all year to keep the show from getting stale.
But writing new jokes isn't easy, and nothing seems to rhyme with Ashen Vale.
We've shed blood
And tears,
and drank a lot of beers.
working round the clock since last Labor Day.
But before we start our school,
Here's just a few little rules.
about the story of this game we play.
Blizzard's told this giant story in so many different ways.
Retcons, rewrites, novelizations. Our best amalgamation is lessons in lore,
Alliance and war. The story from the games, books, comics, and more. Brought to you by Lessons in Lore. And now, a disclaimer. We know it's not totally perfect, so please pardon our flaws. We hope that you enjoy the show. We've worked really hard because every year we come back here and you greet our faux pas with thunderous applause for Lessons in Lore, Azeroth and Draenor. The story from the games, books, comics, and more. Brought to you by Lessons in Lore, playing since '94. The story from the games, books, comics, and more. Brought to you by Lessons in Lore.
You know, I think this original music idea just might work. We could make the whole thing a musical, like Book of Mormon or Legally Blonde, but with swords and killing and stuff.
Anyway, let's get started. Our story begins with the Titans, who didn't necessarily create the universe, but they're big fans of it, so they keep it neat and tidy. They don't do their own dirty work, though. Instead, they have Sargeras to do it for them. Whenever they come to a place where the inhabitants are mean, scary demon tentacle things like the Nethrezim, Sargeras would lock them away. But eventually, he got depressed about being little more than animal control for the Titans and ran away. But that's okay, because Agrimar is ready to step in and doesn't mind doing animal control work. So they come to the planet we know of as Azeroth. It's filled with these crazy things called the Old. Now there are 5 Old Gods, or 3, depending on your source. And also depends more particularly on how many expansions they come out with. The Old Gods rule the land with an iron tentacle and with the help of 4 elemental lords. Ragnaros, who literally can do nothing right. Alakir, who we swear is significant for being more than a raid boss. Therazane, because earthquakes being the result of a fat woman was simply too good a joke to pass up. And Neptulon, who doesn't even get his own raid. I mean, come on, Ragnaros has 2. So anyway, the Old Gods wage war using the Elemental Lords. The Titans win and imprison both the gods and the Elemental Lords.
And then they leave Azeroth to go play Minecraft or something, leaving the Titanic Watchers in charge until they get back. The Titanic Watchers are Oriea, who loves cats. She really, really just loves every kind of cat. And then there's Freya, who loves plants, particularly the happy little trees. Hodir, the big bearded one.
That's not Hodir.
Are you sure? I mean, it does look like him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Oh, there's Hodir. Honest mistake. Ironea, who accidentally got locked in a closet for thousands of years. Loken and Thorum, fresh off the set of Avengers 2. The Maiden of Grief, who is yet another reason to never enter the Halls of Stone. Mizrael, who goes nuts in Arathi, but gets better and peacefully retires to Deepholm. And Tyr, the Unanimated. Now, the Titans go about creating a bunch of stuff to occupy the planet. Stuff like dragons, because if you're creating stuff magically, dragons should pretty much be first on the list. Then they create the Well of Eternity, a magical lake with the stability of a nuclear bomb made of tinfoil. You know, in case the inhabitants get bored and need to blow something up in a hurry. Then they create the Earthen, these rocky servitors who get cursed by the old gods and turned into trogs. So the Titans lock them away in Uldaman and try again. They make the Tolvir, the Earthen version 2, Giants, and Vrikkel. However, once the Titans have returned to their Call of Duty game, the Curse of Flesh hits all the creatures. The Tolvir go from being stone to becoming these cat things. The Vrikkel become small and weak, so they pack all the small and weak babies into a boat Moses style and send them out into the world, where they are called humans. The Giants get angry about the whole business and begin fighting each other, and the Earthen become the Dwarves. Now, this is the exact same story they use for gnomes, so don't think that dwarves are special.
Prond, the first dragon, gives birth to a Skittles pack of other dragons. Alexstrasza red, Ysera green, Nosdormu yellow, Malygos blue, and Neltharion black. Black, like jelly beans, is the worst tasting Skittle. In their infinite wisdom, the Titans 5 dragons. Aman'Thul blesses Nosdormu, giving him dominion over time until he later turns crazy and evil. Norgannon blesses Malygos, giving him dominion over magic until he later turns crazy and evil. Khaz'goroth blesses Neltharion, giving him dominion over the deep places of the world until he later turns crazy and evil. I guess Blizzard really likes the turning crazy and evil storyline. Finally, Eonar blesses Alexstrasza, giving her powers over life until she later turns crazy and evil. Just kidding. And Ysera giving her powers over the Emerald Dream, which she swears is not a useless power. So anyway, the Zandalari trolls are the main big troll group. They split up into the Amani trolls and the Gurabashi trolls. And those groups of trolls form a bunch of other colonies as well. Now the Amani are sometimes called forest trolls, and the Gurabashi are sometimes called jungle trolls. Now some believe that one group of trolls went off and got corrupted by magic, turning them into night elves. But that's like saying a chicken nugget used to once be a porterhouse, so I don't put much stock into that. Anyway, the Amani trolls head south-ish, and they encounter the Azj-Akir, a bunch of insect things. Being trolls, and awesome, they defeat the bugs, and the bugs split up, forming 2 groups. The Azjol Nerub flee north, and the Ahn'Qiraj flee south. Now some night elves come along and, being dicks, blow up the world, tossing trolls onto an island that they thought was so cool they'd just stay there. More on the night elves blowing up the world later.
Anyway, the Guru start worshipping a blood god named Hakar, and they were promised immortality, but sadly, immortality only works if you aren't sacrificed to a blood god named Hakar. So the Zandalari step in and rescue the Gurubashi from his dominion. But a small group called the Hakari Trolls decide to stick it out and see how this whole sacrificing yourself for immortality business pans out. Eventually, they too escape, and an even smaller group called the Atalai Trolls decide to stick it out. However, the Gurubashi decide it's time to end the practice and return to take down the Atalai Trolls. And even though they help the Gurubashi do it, the Hakari Trolls are also punished for being stupid only slightly longer than the rest of the Gurubashi tribe. Well, anyway, Hakara's out of there. So now the Atalai and Hakari Trolls think, I'll bet that whole immortality thing would have panned out had we stuck with it a little longer. So they get together in a temple in the Swamp of Sorrows and try to summon the now dead Hakar, using the prophet Jamalan. Ysera, in an attempt to not feel useless, sinks the temple and puts a bunch of green dragons in there so that it doesn't unsink. And thanks to her efforts, the sunken temple of Atal Hakar is a solid fortress that could only be penetrated by an elite team of 5 mediocre level 52 to 56 players. But, as we will later find out, the real business of resurrecting Hakar was occurring back in Zul'Gurub, because no one will think to look for him in the exact same spot he was last time.